Hey Team Impact, today we're moving on to ratio tables. I'm running a little behind schedule here, so this is going to be a quick lesson. We've got about 15 minutes and there's quite a bit of information. All right, so you can pause this as you need to, but this is going to be quick. It's on the phone this morning. All right, so we had a great warm up in class. If you missed it, it's in the folder. A ratio table is a way to compare quantities. Okay, so we're going to get kind of organized here. All right, we're going to start working into graphing. Todd earns $3 for every 5 chores he completes. Find equivalent ratios using the ratio table below. Okay, so for every 5 chores, he gets $3. 10 chores, he'll get $6. 15 chores, he'll get what? $9. 20 chores, and we're going to add 3 there, and we'll get $12. 25 chores, he'll get $15. So all we're doing is building this up by plus 3 and this up by plus 5. Now, what we're going to write over here, all right, is the ratio, all right? And all of these are going to reduce down to 5 to 3. If I reduce this down, it's 5 to 3. If I reduce this down, it's 5 to 3. If I reduce that down, it's 5 to 3. And we can write it all kind of different ways there, okay? So, nothing new there. How are the number of chores and the amount of money earned related? All right, so for every 5 chores, right? Todd gets $3. How are the values in the chores column related? They increase by 5. See? How are the values in the total column related? All right. The total money earned is increasing by 3, so it's plus 3, all right? Increased, C-R-E-A-S, increased by $3. What do you notice about the ratio column? All right, well, it always simplifies to 5 to 3. Okay? All right, let's move on to some problems here. Mr. Baker is making pancakes and reads the recipe on the back of the pancake box. Use the information in the table to determine the ratio of cups of pancakes mix to cups of water. So we have 2 columns, cups of pancake, cups of water. All right, and you can see how these are going out numerically, and these are increasing by 1 and 5/10. You'll notice that. It's always plus 1 and 5/10. So what is the constant ratio? So the constant ratio is 1 to 1 and 5/10. These all reduce down to that. How many cups of pancake mix will be needed if there is 15 cups of water? All right, so what we would do is just carry this table out. All right, and we're increasing this by 1.5, right? So that's 11.5, and this is going to 7. I increase this by 1.5, okay? I'm going to end up with 13, and this is 8. 1.5 is 14.5, and this is 9, right? But you're going to notice that we don't end up with 15, okay? So, all right, did I make a mistake here? Yes, I did. It should be 10.5. I'm going too fast. I apologize. So this should be 10.5, all right, and this would be 12. This would be 13.5, and this is 10 and 15. I apologize. I've got to slow down here. So how many cups of pancake mix will be needed at 15 cups of water? We're going to get 10 cups of pancake mix. Okay? So I'll let you get that correction made. Okay? And the easiest way to do that is to carry out the table. Now, all right, you'll notice that if we take 1 times 1.5, all right, we could do that with the bottom to top, which I'll talk about later. Flip it over. All right, in questions 3 and 4, complete the ratio table and then answer the following questions. Okay. A cookie recipe calls for 3 eggs for every 2 dozen cookies. So the ratio is 3 to 2. Okay. If I go to and add 6, I'm going to add 6 to 4. I'm going to add 2 down there. All right, if I add 3 there, I'm going to get 9. Add 2 there, I'm going to get 6. So we're plus 3 and we're plus 2. All right, the next one is going to be 12, and if I add 2 there, it's going to be 8. So how many cookies will be made with 12 eggs? 8 cookies. 8 cookies, right? And it tells us right there. 8 dozen cookies, I should say. How many eggs will be needed for 60 dozen? Well, let's see here. Is there an easier way to do this? All right, and I think there is. So let's grab our calculator here and see if we can do something with this, okay? And I'm going to use my phone, okay, because it's going to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take 3 and divide it by 2, and I get 1.5. So that means, okay, that means there's a relationship here. All right, let's go to 6 to 4. 6 and divide it by 4, and I end up with 1.5. So if I take 3 and divide it by 1.5, I get 2. So to get from the top to the bottom, I'm dividing this top number by 1.5. 1.5. Well, now I want 60 eggs, right? 60. So if I take 60 and divide it by 1.5, that will give me the number of cookies. So it's 60 to 40. Okay? So how many eggs will be needed for 60 dozen cookies? And I read it wrong. Let's start over here again. I'm making all kind of mistakes here, all right? So we want 60 here, and how many eggs will be needed there? So we need to work backwards here, right? So instead of dividing, I'm going to take 60 and multiply it by 1.5, and I'm going to get 90 eggs. So I'm going to need 90 eggs, okay? All right, and that ratio would be 90 to 60. 90 to 60. All right, no more mistakes here, Mr. Mill. A developer earns $6 for every 21 apps downloaded. All right, so we get $6 for 21 apps. So if I multiply this by 2, or add 21, I'm going to get 42. If I multiply this by 2, I'm going to get 12. So now, all right, we're just going to multiply these by 2. So let's multiply this by 3, and what do we get? 63. And if we multiply this by 3, we get 18. If we multiply this by 4, right, we get 84. And if I multiply this by 4, I get 24. So all we're doing is scaling up the ratio. We're keeping it equal, okay, keeping it equal. All right, so how many apps will need to be downloaded in order to earn $84? So $84. So now they have 84, and we're looking for X. Well, we could carry it out, okay, all right, and we could look at it, and we could say, hey, how do I get from 6 to 84? And I think this is going to be the easiest way. So let's take, all right, 84 and divide it by 6, and we get 14. So from 6 to 84, we've multiplied it by 14. So guess what? I'm going to scale this top up to here by a factor of 14. So what's 21 times 14? And we get 294. So that is going to be 294 apps. Apps. Okay? So it's all about, multiplying or adding that number, but it's kind of easier to multiply and use your calculator. Letter B. How much money will the developer earn of 105 apps? So we have 105 apps on the top, and now we're looking for X on the bottom. Okay? Well, let's see what the relationship between 105 and 21 is. All right, so if I grab my calculator and I take 105 and I divide it by 21, what do we get? 5. So that tells me that 21 times 5 is 105. So to scale this up proportionally, I would take 6 times 5 and I would get the value of X, which would be 30. Okay? So he's going to need $30. Alrighty? Okay, let's move on here to number 5. The relationship between the number of babies to the number of nursery workers is shown in the table below. Babies, 5, 2 workers, 10 to 4, 15, and you're going to multiply by 2, by 2, by 3, by 3, by 4, by 4, or they're adding 5 every time, however you want to look at it. So, what is the ratio of babies to workers? The ratio is 5 to 2. Okay, and I got that right out of the first column, 5 to 2. How many nursery workers are required if there are 35 babies? So now I need 35 babies, right? And we're looking for now X. So if I scale this up, it's times 7. This times 7, is 14. So I'm going to need 14 workers. Letter C. If 7 nursery workers are available, then what is the maximum number of babies they can accept? Wow. So we have workers of 7, right? So if we have 7 workers, all right, now we're looking for X over here. Now how can I get there? Well, that's right in here between, and I can't get there. So let's do some math here. Let's take 7 and divide it by 2, and we get 3.5. So that means 2, all right, times 3.5 gives us 7. So let's scale this side up by a factor of 3.5. So what is 5 times 3.5? And it's 17 and a half. Okay, now, since we can't have half of a baby, we're going to take that down, all right, to 17 babies. We can't take it up, okay? So that's the relationship, all right? So we can't have more than 17 babies if we only have 7 workers. Number 6. Miss Halpert wrote the table on the board and asked her students to find the missing values. All right, who is correct? So we're looking for this. Okay? All right, well, let's take a look at this. How am I getting from 4 to 9? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to take 9 and divide it by 4. And you're going to notice that I get 2 and 25 hundredths. Okay, so that means 4 times 2.25 is going to give me 9. So guess what I'm going to do to this side? I'm going to scale it up by a factor of 2.25. So watch, $10.60 times 2.25, and we end up with $23.85. So that value, and I'm going to write it right here, is here. Okay? Now, let's see who is correct. Well, was Erin correct? No, she got that value. It looks like Oscar is correct because they did exactly what we just did. And Oscar is the one. Okay? Sorry it was so quick, and sorry about the mistakes. If you flip it over, this is your homework right here, independent practice on ratio tables. Have a good day.